Hey guys, I'm gonna do a little walk around of my Honda XR350 dirt bike. Since it's in the background of a lot of the videos that I do with the bug, I figured I'd kind of show you guys what it is, because up until I get the bug running, this is what I've been using on the trails. So like I said, it is a 1985 Honda XR350 dirt bike. I picked it up when I came out to Colorado, which was 4 years ago. It was in really rough shape when I got it. Like most things that I buy, it was barely rideable. So I tore it apart, I cleaned everything up, I fixed things that were broken, which wasn't anything really too major, just little things. I did paint it. It's now orange and black, whereas before it was that Honda orange red. When I tore it apart, I painted the frame black, and it's just paint. It's not powder coated or anything fancy like that. And all of the panels that I put on it and the fuel tank, I put them on as orange instead of the Honda red orange. It's got a oversized fuel cell on it. It's got a 5-gallon fuel cell, which helps when I'm down on the trails because there's not really many places to get gas out there. I did, when I took it all apart, the spokes were in pretty bad shape, so I did order all new spokes for it, and I tore it all apart and put new spokes in it with the new threaded pieces as well. That was kind of a fun project. When I tore the engine apart, I sent off the cylinder and I had it bored just because I wasn't exactly sure when the last time it was bored, although it didn't seem to be too bad, but I did get it bored so that I knew that I'd be starting with a fresh bore. And then in the engine case, in the transmission side, there were a couple of bearings that had a couple of needles broken and the races were cracked, so I replaced about half of the bearings in the transmission portion. I rebuilt the caliper when I rebuilt it the first time, although I just had to rebuild this again because when I rebuilt it last time, I put all new seals in it, but I was using the original pistons, and I think those pistons were wore enough that it was letting it leak. So I just recently rebuilt it again with all new seals, and I put new pistons in it. So hopefully the next couple of times I ride it here, I can find out that and make sure that it's not leaking anymore. I did change the look of it. I didn't want to put on the front shield that it had from the factory, so I kind of just ordered aftermarket pieces of plastic that I got in this orange color, and then these are actually just basically utility lights that I mounted on the front just because I like the look of the dual lights. I put these hand guards on. Again, I got them in orange. These were pretty expensive. These were like $100. However, you can see here that I've already gone down a couple times with the bike, and these hand guards, and these are really good hand guards, these are really strong. They really do protect my hands when I fall, because I had the bike before this, I fell once, and it wasn't even much of I really just kind of slid off to the side as I was trying to make it up a hill, and I didn't have hand guards on that one, and my hand, even though I had real nice gloves, it kind of got beat up when it kind of slammed into the ground. So I put these on this bike to protect my hands a little bit. I did put the Trail Tech GPS module on the bike. I really like this thing. It gives me a lot of good information. Specifically, what it gives me that I like is it gives me outside temperature, it gives me the altitude, it gives me my miles per hour, it gives me my engine temperature, and then because it's GPS, it tracks where I've gone, and I can also download trails off of the website. I'm gonna make it so that this easily transfers over to the Bug as well. I think I'll buy all the wiring harness for this, and then I'll just transfer this between either the Dirtbike or the Bug. That way it'll have all my maps and everything logged onto it, because a lot of the places that I take the Bug are gonna be the same places that I'm bringing this Dirtbike right now. I was able to buy an aftermarket motorcycle switch module. I think I got it off of eBay or Dennis Kirk or something, and it made the rebuild process real simple. I was also able to buy this front brake master cylinder. It bolted right on. I mean, it was meant for this bike. It bolted right on. It's got a little sight glass, and it's worked real well for me. So, and it was a heck of a lot easier than trying to rebuild the one that was on the bike, because that one was all beat up. I don't know what pipe this is. It came on the bike when I had it. It sounds good. It's not overly loud, so I just took it off, rebuilt the bike, and put it back on. The rear brake on this bike, since this is a 1985 XR350, the rear brake is drum, and it had a steel link that went up to the pedal here, and it was okay, but it was, over the years, it had been bent, twisted, and tortured so many times that it was a mess. So actually what I did, because I couldn't source a brand new one, because a lot of parts for this bike are no longer available, I made this one out of aluminum. This is 1/4 inch round stock, and then on my little hobby mill, I just machined all of these parts, which was actually a fun little project, and tied it in. So that's how my rear brakes are now actuated, and I've been real happy with that. I took the airbox off and I mounted this pod filter, and it actually works really well, except I think although it's never happened to me, I think if I ever really went trudging through deep water, the back tire would be throwing water up at this pod filter, and I think I would run into trouble. I've splashed through some pretty big puddles and I haven't had any problems, but anytime we're riding and it's maybe a little bit rainy or there's quite a few puddles, it's always nagging me in the back of my mind that I need to kind of be careful, because I do know that if I get in too much water, the back tire is just going to be chucking water. So in hindsight, I probably would have keep the airbox, because the bike would be a little bit more resilient. When I tore the bike apart during the rebuild, I did, if you can see here, there was a compression release device, like a little cam up in here, that I removed and put in this blockout plate. And then on the other end of it, inside the case here, there's another portion that goes to the compression release, and I blocked that off as well. When I rebuilt the bike, when I tore everything apart, like I said, I did new spokes front and rear. I also painted the wheels. Actually, this is the original tire that I got the bike with. I have had to change the rear tire once, and I'll probably have to change it again here pretty soon. I bought a seat off of eBay. I don't know if it's something that somebody's making or what. It does have the Honda on the back. It's a great seat. I came with the seat, the plastic underneath, the foam, everything, and it was all built and all put together. I think I paid like $125 for it, which wasn't bad. And I've been real happy with it. The one that from the factory, it was blue, and the one that I had was, of course, all tore up and duct taped, so that was a nice little addition. When I had the bike apart, I built a completely new wiring harness for it, and I tied it into the new switches, the Voyager GPS unit, and then I tied it into all of the factory wiring. The only thing that is original at this point is some of this wiring coming out of the stator is original. And this wiring harness on the other side is half original. As soon as I could, I tied into the old wires. None of it's crimped. I soldered all of it. And another thing that I did that is kind of cool, I don't know how necessary it is, but right here I put in a little connector. And if I disconnect this connector, and if I plug in a little battery, I've got another plug that I made that if I pull this one out, plug in my plug that then has alligator clips that I can connect to a 12-volt battery, then it gives the motorcycle 12 volts without the motor running. So it was very helpful when I was building the wiring harness so that I could make sure that the headlights and the tail lights and the brake light and all that stuff worked. And then sometimes before, if I'm going on a large ride, I'll plug a 12-volt battery into it the night before, and then it'll actually charge the GPS unit. But in a nutshell, that's it. I mean, I put quite a bit of work and some money into it when I first got it, but once I finished it, got it put back together, really all I do with it now is keep it oiled, clean it when it gets really dirty, and ride it. I mean, it's a good bike. It doesn't have a ton of power, but it has enough for me, because again, I'm just kind of putzing around on some mountain trails. But for what I'm looking to do, it's been pretty good. So far it's been very reliable. Once I've rebuilt it, it hasn't really given me any mechanical issues. Hope you guys like it. If you've got any specific questions on it, go ahead and leave me a comment. Other than that, thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.